everyone, welcome to another edition of Craps Down Under. Today I'm going to do a bit of a strategy around parlaying the don't, and so what we're going to try and do is grow our don't bet through a number of shooters. So let's get started. Let's start with $60. Now I've got a $700 bankroll here, so basically somewhere around 10 shooters. I'm going to basically put that out there now. Now, if you want to hedge on the come out and hedge, say, a yo, feel free to do that. I won't do it at this lower level, but maybe a little bit down the track when we get through the strategy a little bit, I may bring in a hedge on the yo, on the come out. So let's see what we got. We're on the 9. So all we're doing is hoping we can win a point. If we can win one, then fantastic. 8, 5, 4, 8, and we're hit our 9. So not able to win one yet. So go back up again on that 9. So 9s are hitting. And there's the 7, so we got this one. So basically get our money back. So what we do, we parlay. Now we don't want to get 7s. Now this is the point where I'd think about putting, say, we've got 120 on there, so I'd probably put something like a $8. Right, $8 will probably be enough. Pay 120, I believe. All right, so let's hedge the yo this time. And we're on the 6. All right, so this is the interesting part. So 0.6, not the best one to be on, of course. What I will do here, I will hedge it to $60 because 60 will pay my $70. So I basically get, we also take this back. I basically get my start over money again. That's what we're trying to do here, protect our base wager. So I'll go to 60. What that means is net return, because I've got 120 here, I'm going to net $60 on a 7. And then I'll parlay it again on top. And there's our 7. So we lose 60 here, but we get paid 60 and we get paid another 60. Right, so that's 120. So we parlay that up. Right, so we've got, just so you can see, right, this is $40 here, right? Right, so $240. Riding on it. So if we want to hedge the yo, you'd be putting probably 15 or so on it, right? So let's not hedge the yo. We're just going to go with it. Got a 5. Right. So we've got, remember, we've got $240. So what we want to do is we want to put enough to cover a little bit more than our initial wager. And our initial wager was $60. We've got $240 riding on this. So what's an amount that we'll be happy to make as a return from $240? I'd say let's go half, say 120. Right, so 120. Let's just buy this guy for 120. Right, because that's gonna pay, that'll make us a fair bit of money anyway if we buy that. So that means we're gonna make 120. No, that's a buy. Right, and remember that's 120, gonna pay half, we're gonna get 180 as our payout for that. So we're still preserving a large chunk of this, but we're also giving us the chance to make a a win regardless of what happens. There's a 6, a 3, a 6 again, 4, an 8, yo, 3, 9, 3, 6, and there's our 5. So not what we want to see. So what happens? Well, we lose this, right? Sorta. We get paid. Remember, we've got 120 on this. Now it is a buy, so in the way your buy works, you get it's 1.5. It's basically what you get paid. So we are going to get paid 4. In fact, what I can do, I'll take it out of here so it's very clear what we actually lost. 1, 2, 3, 4, plus another half, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, plus another half. So we lost 60 bucks of our wager that was riding, which is not bad. All right, so let's take back our 120. That was our bet. Now I will pay the VIG. I do need to pay some VIG there. So the VIG is going to be $6 because we had 120. So basically $1 per 20 of your bet. We'll chuck all this back in our rack. So given we had 120, so half of that's 180. So let's just go back up. 150, 75, 80. So this is what we're riding. So even though we lost the point, we've actually preserved a massive chunk of the parlayed wins. We're not trying to protect all of it because we still want to grow as we keep going around. Now the only thing we don't want to get is front side losses. And there's plenty of ways you can do that. You can hedge by doing a lay the back wall, which will cost you about $30 for 120. That means any craps or yos or other things that come out, you're not losing anything. Yeah, but you will lose 30 bucks when you hit the point. So when you start to get up to these higher levels, you can start to even hedge against the 7. So we are at that kind of level where you could hedge the 7, but I didn't bring enough bankroll to really do this. But I'm just saying you can actually hedge it if you really want. I'm just going to roll with this, see what we get. We got the 10, so a good number to be on. And now, because we've got what I said, 180, we could put 90 on here and we wouldn't lose a thing. But let's just put 80. 80 is enough. That way we still manage to make quite a nice $100 win out of this on top if the 7 rolls. So I'm only going to hedge, as I said. We've got 80, we're going to get 160, we've got 180. So we'll be down a little bit, I don't care. I'd rather make 100 bucks. And remember, this is a buy. Yo. Just showing you a really simple, there's a 7, really simple way of using the don't and parlaying it. And then once you're parlaying, you have to remember you only ever had 60 bucks. Your starting bankroll was 60 bucks. That's all you've had at risk the entire time was the 60 bucks. The rest is your winnings, and you're trying to parlay them up. And so if I do that, obviously this loses. So yeah, we lost 80 bucks there. And that's okay, because on the front, we're going to get 100, 180. Because that's what we've got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 75, 80. So we just won another 180 bucks on the front there. So netted $100. So where are we on our in our bankroll? All right, because we're basically $100 up. Basically $100 up. Now remember, we did get wiped out on our first loss. So 180, and we just won 180. So what does that bring us up to? 180 plus 180. We could go. I will go 300 is what I will go to, because that way I've preserved my original bet. So I've locked away $60 for my original bet rather than going to 360. I'm going to go to basically 300, and let's do that. So that way I'm preserving my original amount. All right. And let's go. And we got 10, hard 10. So 300. Again, I'm happy if I was again just to put even just 100 on it. I'm still going to make $200 regardless of what happens here. I'll make some money. That's an 8. All right, got a $100 buy. So that'll pay 200. I've got 300 on that, so I'm going to preserve a chunk of money. I was already up about $100. There's that 7. So lost 100 here, but I get 300 on the front. So I'll grab another 2 blacks and add to it, right? So we can all come back. So original 500, and we're basically back even, less a few dollars. What is it? Less. Let's just say what is it? $14. So less $14. We're up $300, just like that. $700 bankroll. We've got half our bankroll just by parlaying some don'ts. And the secret of this, parlay the don't, protect a chunk of the don't. But you remember, you got to win the first don't. You have to win the first don't. Once you've won the first don't, you parlay the results, and that allows you to give yourself a differential. So you're protecting your base bet by buying or placing against the don't. So you're protecting your original stake, and you're allowing enough. You're also protecting some of the parlayed wins, so that no matter what happens, you're going to net some profit. And you keep going around and around and around, and I built it up. Now, where's your risk? It's always this come out roll, 7 rolls. It takes you back, right? So that's why I took out my $60 of my original stake from the 360 that I'd built it up to. I dropped it back to 300, put my original stake back in, because I always had that to fall back on, and then I was just risking some of the profit there. So $300 ahead is pretty good. Didn't all go perfectly for us. You know, we did get knocked off on the 5, but it shows you that very quickly it's that power of multiplication, that power of it's that growth that you get by parlaying wins on wins, right? You get those wins to generate more profit, and not a huge amount of risk. Come out is where most of your risk is. As I said, you can use the lay the back wall, which I prefer to any kind of you're doing this. So you put, casinos will have different limits. Maybe you can't do 30, maybe you have to do 40, whatever your limits are, you've got to work within those. But by doing a lay on all of these, on that come out, doesn't matter what happens on the come out, you can have a 3, a 1, a 2, 12, doesn't matter, yos, all that stuff doesn't matter. You're not losing any of these, you're not losing them at all. If you're trying to hop the 7s, or you were trying to, use an any 7, not recommended, it's a terrible bet. If you're using those, they would cost you more, because each come out roll, you got to replace the protection. So this, I've got $30 risked, but that's actually protecting. It's 120 less the VIG. The VIG's going to be $6, so $114 of cover. So remember, imagine you've started here, $60, right? Point cycle, maybe it went on to the 6 first time, they 7'd, or the 8, they 7'd out, you go, great. Now you've got, what is it, 120 total. You parlay the lot up. So now you got 120. So guess what? Come out 7. You're paying a little bit of tax here to cover that, like $30. All right. So if it goes to the 6, so if 6 becomes the point, right, so it's already cost you $30 to protect your, not just your base bet, but your parlayed win there. And that's why I wouldn't do it at this very low level. I would wait till you get to, say, 180, 300, somewhere around there. It probably makes a bit more sense, because you've got more room to hedge it out. So you end up with your hedge being a little bit more equal. So if you were to put 60 here, you're still going to protect your bet, right? You're still going to protect $70 of your bet, right? So you're going to lose that if you hit it, right? You're still going to get about $70. But remember, of that 120, you're down to 90. So you're only going to make about a $20 differential is going to be about $20 net win. But still, $20 growing each time is quite significant. In fact, if you, even with that $20, you could still afford to put a $10 or $10 on the yo. You're still going to make 10, right? A $10 growth doesn't matter. You're still making some money, because remember, your original stake was only $60, and you're now playing with casinos. Your winnings is what I call money in action. That money is in action. You're cycling it around, and you're trying to grow it up. And you're using a little bit of clever hedging. You can actually keep growing it, and really your only risk is this roll here. Doesn't matter what happens here. This doesn't have to protect the entire bet, right? It has to be much less. So you want to kind of go up a level and then hedge, so you're covering the level you were previously at before you parlayed. And that's kind of, it's like a step, and you just keep going up and up and up. That's a way of growing your bets using the don't. So practice it, get a feel for the levels, because they do vary depending on what bet you're on. This pays 2 to 1, right? This pays 1.5. This is not 6 to 7, or if you were to buy, I wouldn't say buy it, but if you were going to buy it, it's 5 to 6. But most of the time we place these. It's more economical to place the 6 and 8s. But you got to understand those ratios, so you bet to cover enough of your wager. So it doesn't matter what happens. You got your starting bet is protected. So, and remember, once the don't, doesn't matter what point you're on the don't, you're always the favourite at that point. Always the favourite. So that's a way of using the don't and growing it by parlaying. So I'm going to make it a short and sweet video. As I said, we made about $300 relatively quickly, and I think it's a strategy worth playing with and experimenting and getting a feel. So I look forward to everyone's feedback on this one. I think it's a nice way to generate $300 with not a huge amount of risk. So I'll leave it there. Thanks for watching.